Have you ever questioned some of the decisions you've made as you've gone through this business journey? I definitely have. I was thinking about it the other day and I came up with three mistakes that I made with my business, and I thought that I would share them with you. And hopefully, you can glean some insights into how I found myself in those positions. And if you are in the same, then what you can do about it and how to make your business a little bit more successful. So let's get into it. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B, web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Today's episode was inspired by a recent podcast episode I listened to about the behind the scenes of another online business owner's journey and where she found herself today versus 5 years ago and some of the pivotal moments in her journey. And as I was thinking about it, my business journey goes 11 years now. When I started this business, when I was pregnant with my son and decided to leave the nonprofit world. And there were things that I did way back in the beginning, and even things that I did a few years ago that I am no longer doing. And I found that my business is much better because of those choices. So let's talk about it, the three mistakes that I made. Before I do, just a quick introduction if we haven't already met. I am Jenny B. I own Jenny B Designs. We're a brand and web design studio. And my passion is helping other small business owners really show up online as their true passionate selves and really bring out their brand personality online so that they can attract their ideal clients and make more money with their website. I do this by creating beautiful, but more importantly, strategic websites, as well as offering audits for those who have a website that they maybe have done themselves or had done a few years ago, and sharing ways that you can update it a little bit more so that it can be more strategic for you and your business. If you're interested in learning more about me, you can hit any of the links below and you can find out more there. So let's talk about the three mistakes that I've come up with. The first one is that, and this is so funny because you'll find out why in a second. The first one is I didn't embrace my brand personality from the start of my business. And it's funny because I talk about bringing out your brand personality online and representing your true self online. That is what I love to do. But the funny thing is that I didn't do this back in the day. When I first started Jenny B Designs, I had been designing websites 20 plus years, but I really decided to focus on the website design business when my son was born. And that is when I decided to create my first business website. I'll say before that, I was mostly getting business and doing side projects just from word of mouth. And when I thought about creating a website, I thought about all the other website designers that I knew about at the time, what they were doing on their websites, and I created something that is so not me. It was very formal. It was very corporate. There weren't any pictures of myself. It wasn't very niche down. I had very business-like words. They were not very specific, very warm. It was more like on the corporate side, I would say. It lacked that personal touch. And it lacked that visibility of the brand, of me behind the business. I also remember that when I was communicating with emails, I kept everything very formal, used corporate language. And one specific example was my away message. When I would take time off on Fridays, it was my family day when my kids were younger, and I would not work every Friday. And I remember at the beginning stages of my business, I would put the away message on Fridays, and it would be something so corporate, like I'm out of the office and I will be back on Monday. Very bland, very blah. There was no personality in that email message, which is so different from how I have a brand today. But I went that way for, I would say, about a year or so. And I started really thinking about what I wanted to show up as online and who am I working with and how am I communicating and who am I attracting because of what I'm putting out there. And I realized that that wasn't me. I wasn't embracing my brand personality. So I remember I redesigned my website, my first ever website, about a year and a half after I put it up. And the new design was pink. I was embracing who I was. And it had pictures of me. And it had a beautiful script font. And it had words that truly reflected me at the time and the brands that I really wanted to work with. And I remember I put up my first away message that was fun. And it led people to a few different blog posts that I had. And it even had a cute little, I forget my sign off, but the sign off was not like best regards. It was something more cute and fun. And I really embraced my brand personality. And I will tell you, the difference in clients that I attracted once I did that was incredible. I felt that I was in alignment with those who I wanted to work with. And that's when my business truly took off. So, my first mistake that I made 11 years ago was not embracing my brand personality. And I find that a lot of small businesses out there are in the same boat. They're not embracing that. And that's why I love what I do, because I love helping others build an online presence that really does bring out who they are and reflect who they want to attract and bring those ideal clients in. I have a really fun quiz on my website that asks 6 questions. And then from there, you will get 3 personalized ways to bring out your brand personality with your current website. It's super fast and you get really personalized results. There are 4 different website personality types that I've kind of found out in the wild. So if you haven't already taken that, I encourage you to click on the link down in the notes and find out what is your website brand personality and then bring it out online. And if you're finding that you just kind of want to start fresh and new, then reach out because this is what I'm so passionate about. And it probably stems from the fact that I didn't do this when I started out. So that's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 is overcomplicating the process. This probably stems back to, I want to say, 4 or 5 years ago. This is the time when online businesses were really taking off, pre-COVID and then during that time. And there were so many people talking about processes and systems and how you need to have workflows and automations and client portals and all kinds of things that you need when you're working with someone. Clients are going to ask questions and they're going to want to have access to materials documenting everything. And I fell into that trap. I thought, okay, I need to really write out everything, make sure that my clients have every single thing that they need, that every question they could anticipate will be answered, and that I offer them so many different options. And by doing that, I really complicated the entire process. I love to make things simple. I say that a lot. And I'll tell you, this stems from the mistake I made a number of years ago, overcomplicating things. When I overcomplicated my processes as an onboarding and working with clients, I found that people are really confused and they felt like there was just much information and they didn't need to know all that. And the truth is, they didn't. I now understand that it is best for both my clients and myself that we simplify the process and they're only getting the information that they need. So now when someone works with me, instead of having a fancy client portal that's built in, Notion, which is one of my favorite databases, but built in Notion or ClickUp or Asana, I actually just use a Google Doc. And I have a to-do list. And that to-do list is super, super simplified. It has a few items that they need to do. There's no documentation about what that item is. There's just a short description if there needs to be. And then there is a link to the Google Drive, and that's where you put all your deliverables for me. So when you work with me, you come into my process and you get a Google Doc. And when you get there, it's really a simple to-do list that you go through. versus what I was doing before is setting up client portals with Asana or ClickUp and having clients click through things that has documentation about each step in the process, trying to answer all their questions. It's just too complex and complicated. Understanding that I needed to streamline for efficiency and for my clients to have a better client experience. That would be my mistake number two, really overcomplicated the process. And there's so much noise out there about the systems that you can use and about how you can make things work behind the scenes and automations. And I love that, but I love it as it goes to the point of simplifying, not about making things more complicated. So maybe think about your processes, whether it be just your processes behind the scenes in your own business or with working with your clients. Is there anything that you can make more simple? Does it have to have so much information? What can you take away? And I always ask myself when I do a website design, what can I take away? Because that's actually the hardest thing. What can you remove from the equation? But when you do that, taking something away, it just becomes more simple and more streamlined and easier to understand. So that would be mistake number two, overcomplicating the process. And then my final mistake that I fell into, and I had come out of this in the last couple of years, is that believing that scaling is the only way to success. We've also been hearing that rhetoric online, six-figure businesses and 10K months and scaling and growing. That's the only way that you can be successful. For me, I have a web design agency, right? But I've been told that the way to be really successful is to scale that agency. You need to grow, add employees that you work with and get more clients and offer more services and scale and scale and scale. And for a time there, I really was under the mindset that maybe that is what I need to do is scale to be successful. But thinking about that, I realized that when you scale, you are growing your teams. You are removing yourself from the thing that you are so passionate about. For me, it's design. And you're finding yourself in a position where you are spending more time managing your team than actually doing the thing that you love. And there was a misalignment there when I was hearing the advice to hire people, to delegate more, to take on more things. When I was thinking about my business, I have a lot of systems in place that actually take away the need from hiring more people. I really love automations and processes and systematizing things. And I have found that doing this has allowed me to take myself away from doing all of the tedious things without needing to add more people to my team. As well, for me, this business is one that I love and I'm so passionate about, but I would classify myself as a lifestyle business owner. I am not there to be working 14-hour days, 7 days a week on my business. I want a beautiful business that supports my lifestyle. And right now I have 2 younger children and I want to be able to spend time with those kids and my family and be able to pick them up from school and have afternoons together and to spend time on all the various sports fields on the weekends. That's the goal with my business. I want my business to grow and be successful, but I don't want to be working crazy hours. As well, I want to be working on projects that I love. I want to be really choosy with who I work with. And I only want to offer services that I'm passionate about. And for me, what I have learned is that I don't want to grow a large team. I have team members, if you want to call them, that I work with on a regular basis that help me do the services that I do. But I am not growing as an agency with full-time employees. That is not the path for success for me. I have found that using automations and systems allows me to have more time back in my day, and then partnering with other team members on specific projects to achieve my clients' goals is what brings me success. And I just want to throw it out there that some of us just want to be solopreneurs. That's not me. I don't want to be solo, but I just want to have a small team, a really small, tight team. That's it. I don't want to grow anymore. Some people actually just want to be solopreneurs. That is happiness to them. And so I want you to just really think about What do you believe? What do you want? And don't fall into the trap that believing that scaling is the only path to success, because it isn't. Just evaluate what growth means to your business and do what is true to your heart. So those are my 3 mistakes. The first one is not embracing my brand personality. The second is overcomplicating things. And the third is believing that scaling is the only path to success. Maybe one of these resonated with you and you can kind of understand my take on that. If the first one really resonated with you about not embracing your brand personality, definitely reach out because I can help you with that. I believe that that is one of the most important things that I did, most important mistakes that I turned around that really made a big difference in my business. Thank you so much for listening. And if you found this episode helpful or exciting, I would love to hear from you. Send me a message. My email is below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I look forward to chatting with you next week. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.